Welcome to the Show Me the Shift podcast with Coach Lenora, certified life coach, HR certified professional, international best-selling author, and creator of the Victorious Movement, a members-only community where she coaches her members from stuck to action and from scarcity to abundance in the areas of mindset, goal setting, and monetization online. The Show Me the Shift podcast was created to encourage future entrepreneurs that they can step boldly into their purpose by hearing the stories of others who have paved the way. Here is our host, Coach Lenora. Welcome to the show. Hello, everyone. I hope everybody is doing well on this Sunday. Hopefully you are enjoying the day, but also the long weekend from the holiday weekend. And hopefully you're not having too much bad weather because there is a lot of weather going on this weekend as well. But I'm very excited today to have an interview for you all with Lenise Robinson. And so I'm going to go ahead and read you all her bio. So I'll be speaking with Lenise and her son, Tenel. And Lenise is the owner of Parlour Salons and Bloom Salon and Suites. And she is a graduate of Empire Beauty School and an 18-year veteran in the beauty industry, where she served as a cosmetology program mentor, a brand ambassador, a textured hair educator, and she is a mom, as you'll see in just a moment, a salon owner and a veteran with a passion for beautifying women from the inside out. So, Lenise, welcome to the show.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much. And I'm just so excited to hear more about your story. And so I think that your story also will inspire a lot of people who are in a corporate environment, debating whether or not they really want to pursue their purpose and go after their dream. And so that's why you came to mind as someone that I wanted to be as one of my first few guests, because you were one of the first people that I knew to actually make the shift.
Oh my God.
Inspirational to me to see somebody like, oh, I used to work with her and now she's out doing her own thing and, really like succeeding, not just, making it happen, but like thriving while making it happen, which is so exciting. And so I'll just start with you if you'd like to give a little introduction of yourself and then your son Tenel, and then we'll hop into a few questions.
I mean, you said it all in your introduction. Yeah, Lenise, I've been doing this for 17 years now. I've been in the beauty industry for 17 years. So the first few years of that, I was juggling corporate versus entrepreneurship, and it just took a toll. My son was young, and it just became too much. I had to do one or the other, and I was traveling a lot with work, and so every time I would travel, I was losing clients. So I had to pick a side. And so here we are.
There we are. All right. And Tenel, tell us a little bit about you and your journey with your mom being an entrepreneur as well.
I'm Tenel. I've worked in marketing consulting for about 3 or 4 years now. But I think a lot of people they're worried about how it affects others by taking that leap and that step. And so I think that's my perspective that I bring, is that it's not that deep and it's not that far of a jump. So
wow, I've never heard his perspective. So I'm interested to hear this as much as everyone else is.
I've heard her story maybe 5 or 6 times, but I've never taken it.
Right. So you've heard her story. She hasn't heard your story as much. Okay, got it. And so let's go back. Okay. So that moment that you decided, okay, this is taking a toll. It's a lot. I'm ready to leave this 9 to 5 and pursue something that I'm really passionate about. Like, what shifted for you to make you make that leap? And especially knowing that you had a young child at home.
So the biggest thing, I shared this in my stories the other day, but I always wanted him to never feel like he had to work a 9 to 5 his whole life and retire, like our parents. I just didn't want him to hold on to that as the thing that he had to do to be happy. And thankfully, this generation is very different. They are all about finding peace and what makes them happy. And so that's what I did was in partnership with that. But aside from that, I had a teammate who 1 month, and I could be mixing these dates up, but
Yeah.
either way, it was really fast. So I'm gonna say maybe like in September, we could hear her like coughing across the Q farm, right? It was loud and it was like, and then she eventually told us that she had breast cancer that spread to her lungs. And then I'm guessing, if I had to guess, maybe by April, she passed away.
Oh, wow.
And she and I worked very closely together. We were on IT projects in the same room. And she was always the first one at work, maybe like 6, 7 in the morning, because she didn't have internet at home. She didn't have children. She kind of helped take care of her dad. And so work was her life. And so I saw that. And at this time I was working part-time in the salon. And I saw that and I was like, life is so short. And so that from that moment, I think I wrote on Facebook one day, I'm going to be a business owner by 35. And it would remind me of that, like the next couple of years. And so finally I was like, all right, I've saved up enough. I got to go. So that was the biggest thing. If I could put my finger on one thing, that was the thing. That was the biggest catalyst.
Yep, that makes sense for sure. And so, Tenel, what do you remember from that time in your mom's life?
What I remember, I kind of remember like I didn't have like a troubled childhood, or like I lived more comfortable than my parents did, than their parents did, their parents did. So when I went from like trips to the Bahamas or going here and there, and then my mom was like, okay, well, I'm leaving my job. And I'm like, that's my perspective of it, is that my luxury lifestyle is being snatched away from me, where that may have come across. And I think this comes across in a lot of different instances as a lack of support for that person who's trying to start their journey. And so I never wanted it to come across like that. But my perspective was always that my life is about to change drastically, because we no longer have what we have had in the past. But my mom is not, I think it's something she's instilled in me, is like stagnation is just not something we're comfortable with. So I kind of knew when she started to do hair part-time that at some point it would expand into something larger.
Okay, got it. And how old were you then when that took place?
I was in middle school, right?
Yeah, it was because so before that, the other thing that drove me to do it was I was deployed overseas.
Oh, okay.
And so, when this rocket's flying over your head, you like, look.
That puts things in perspective.
Yeah, like I'm coming home and I'm doing everything I want to do. And so cosmetology school was on the list. And when I was in cosmetology school, he was really young. But by the time I left my job, he was about to start high school, which really is, you think, oh, they need you more when they're little. No, they need you more when they are going to high school and about to become adults and figuring out life.
Yeah.
But he's always been so easy to raise. I don't want to give him too much credit, but also super independent. So I wasn't that worried. But what he said did come across, because he was like, I don't know what he said one day, and I was like, you just don't know why you can't get Jordans anymore. I remember
the Jordans, the best video games, the luxury trips. Like, what's going on here?
I know what I said. I said, Mom, so you're really gonna leave your job? Like, that's really what's happening. Like, wow.
That is too funny. Oh my gosh. But no, I mean, look, it was what was ending up to be the best decision ever, right? So, I mean, for both of you. So that's wonderful. And so how did you know, Lenise, that like beauty, hair, that was your calling? Like that was where you were going to plant your, stake in the ground, your flag in the ground?
It was just something, I mean, ever since I was little, so I didn't like getting my hair done because I'm tender-headed.
Okay.
And I will deny it if anybody asks me that again. But I was tender-headed, but I loved sitting in the salon and watching the women come in and interact with the stylist, and the stylist create something beautiful. And then the client, they see themselves differently. And so I always enjoyed that. I just enjoyed people watching, hearing the conversations. My mom, one of my grandmother's coworkers, she owned a salon, but she also worked part-time. And but she would also do our hair at her home sometimes. So I just always enjoyed that interaction, and it just never left me. It never left me. And so when I made my bucket list after leaving Baghdad, cosmetology school was one of the things that I wanted to do. Never wanted to be behind the chair forever. I just knew that I wanted to be in the beauty industry in some way. So yeah,
Got it.
that's really what it was.
Now that makes sense. And so what was that like the hardest part? So you made the decision, you're ready to do it, you've saved up enough money, you're like, okay. But there's also a security, there's benefits, there's all those things that people talk about. Oh, what are you going to do for 401k? What are you going to do for this? What are you going to do? You know, and all those things that come up. So how did you overcome any fear or doubt that you had about it and the naysayers, if there were any?
I definitely had, no, honestly, I can't say that I had doubts or I had fears
Yeah.
because I had been doing it part-time. So I kind of like already sort of had a flow, but doing hair part-time and doing it full-time as an owner is two very different things.
Okay.
So I think I had saved up. I had, again, I'm a veteran, so I was able to use the VA. So I didn't have to necessarily jump out the window and get insurance. And my mom was always good with finances. So I always had a financial advisor who set me up with all of the things that I needed, you know, IRAs, for whatever. I always had.
Needed.
So those things were already in place. I just had to show up and do the work. And that's where the problem fell, where I was kind of being lazy. I was just like, well, I've been working since I was 14.
I want a break.
I'm tired. I want to take a break. And so I just was not going to the salon. Like, y'all call me when somebody calls or like call me.
Wow. Yeah.
I was like, in hindsight, yeah, that was a mess. So, you know, which proved to be the worst thing to do because I almost lost my house behind it. So.
I mean, yeah, because that's the thing, like you're taking a risk when you step out on faith and do what you're called to do. And you're right, you have to show up for the work of that. I remember being a part of a training recently and they said, you know, there's the be, the do, and the have. And a lot of people, when they go into the entrepreneurial world, they want the have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to have it already up and running and be successful. But they're like, no, you have to be who you're supposed to be and do what you're supposed to do in order to have. So it's like, you got to plant the seed, water it, and then you get the fruit. And so I was like, wow, that's so powerful because a lot of people I think do just say, oh, I'm planting my stake. I'm going to have what I want in a heartbeat. And that isn't always how I mean, it can happen for some people, but it doesn't always happen that way. And you have to be willing to take the risk.
And I thought that my clients would follow me because I left my corporate job, but I also switched salons in the process. And so every time you switch salons, you inherently lose clients.
That's true.
But I thought, okay, I'm going to leave my job and my clients will follow me. It's only like 3 blocks down the street. That didn't happen.
Interesting.
And, some of them did, but that didn't happen. And then, you know, it just, I bottomed out.
Yeah, no, I mean, but that puts a fire in a person too, right?
Oh, absolutely put a fire. Yeah, I wouldn't be where I am today had I not bottomed out.
Yeah, good point. And so, Tenel, what's your experience with seeing your mom go through her transition? How has that impacted you as a person who, I don't know, do you want to be an entrepreneur? Like, what are your aspirations based on the journey that you've seen your mom go through?
Actually, I think it put me on like the loose end a little bit, which her goal, which she started with, was to show me that I guess it's limitless, but it worked more than it should have. So now I kind of feel like I could leave any job and like do my own thing. So I don't feel obligated to be anywhere, which also may be a generational curse that my age group has, that we don't necessarily feel like we need to commit to something. But I do think that I don't fear for not having a job, or like, as long as I have an idea, a plan, and I'm not staying in the same place.
Your parents.
Yeah.
To back you up.
Then I'm okay. So I don't know. I've met people who don't have that same comfortability level, and they are reaching for jobs that may not necessarily make sense for what they have going on. And I don't think that's happened to me yet. I've always been aligned with the work that I do because my parents do work. Both of them are entrepreneurs, so they both do work in something that they're interested in or something they saw a vision for.
Got it. Okay. No, that's great. And I'll tell you, just from being a former HR professional, you probably are in the trend of what the youth of today thinks. It's like, I'll be there for a few years. There was a study that I had pulled prior to leaving corporate where it was like most people in their 20s are only on the job for 3 years, like maximum. It's usually 1.5 to 3, and then they're ready to hop to the next thing because they also feel like the next thing's going to bring more money. And I'm not a CEO yet. So hello, like I haven't gotten promoted. I haven't done anything. Like what's going on? So I need to go to the next thing. So that is, I think, a little bit of a mindset of some of the youth that's out here today is it's like that instant gratification of I need it now and I need it quick. But it sounds like with you though, you're like, but I've seen what my mom's gone through. So I'm not expecting that same type of instant gratification, which is a plus.
And I'm just not afraid of wanting bigger and better for myself because she wanted that for herself. And so I don't have to stay in the same place, even if it's stable at the moment. It's not.
Got it.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. I love that. I love the connection with you too, which is amazing and has always been, which is awesome. So, all right. And so now the other thing I want to ask you about, Lenise, is okay. So has there been anything about entrepreneurship itself that you're like, why didn't anybody warn me about this? Why didn't anybody tell me that this was what the journey was going to be like? And I mean, for you, you might be thinking back to what it was like in the beginning, but still.
Yeah, I mean, everything. But I did have mentors. So that was helpful. But even my mentors were limited in their knowledge of owning a business because neither of my mentors managed people. So the people management piece, I'm so grateful for my time in the military because I did kind of have to manage people a little bit. So I kind of understood it. I didn't have to fully do it because there was someone over me, but there were moments where I had to step in and be a leader. So that part has been a lot. Like it's a lot, but it comes with it. So I do it. But I think that I also feel like a lot of the business side of things. So there were some things I understood, but a lot of things and I think generally in our community, we just don't get exposed to a lot of things.
Right.
And so that has been a huge push for me and my business partner in our business that we promote and that we provide for not just our team, but our peers. And we offer business classes as a salon.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's what I was going to say, the business part, because my mom would come home with like new nuggets and like I don't know what year you picked up with another like financial advisor, but you started to pay yourself, and I thought it was Christmas. Like she was so excited. I was like, okay, mom. Like I thought you made the money from the business anyway, but
Yeah,
I paid myself. That was a huge shift in my business. Yeah.
Right, because you have to reinvest so much that then finally it's like, oh, now I can start pulling from that and being able to pay myself, which, And I think that's the scary part for a lot of people too, when it comes to opening a business is like, okay, well, what is that apex of, okay, now I can start investing back into myself and paying me as opposed to having everything poured into the business. And so, but it sounds like with your financial advisors and different people that you were working with, they were like, okay, now you're at that point where that can happen for you.
Yeah. And it's not as difficult as people think it is. I think the challenging thing, particularly in the beauty industry, is that people are artists. They just want to do art. So the business stuff doesn't even really connect for them.
Register.
So like, when I think about my business partner, she's 30. Today is her birthday, actually.
Aww,
happy birthday, Star.
Happy birthday.
So, she turned 35, but being able to use a computer goes so far over her head.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy. Right. And so, but a lot of them are like that. When coming into this industry, that was one thing that I did not realize. Like a lot of people are not technically inclined or technically savvy, so the business part was a challenge. And that's why I've been so passionate about sharing business stuff with the people that I know.
Right. Now, are you sharing that specifically with people in the beauty industry? Or if somebody, like, say you're at a networking event and somebody is like, oh, I just want to know X, Y, and Z. Like, are you sharing it in general or mainly with people because you have the understanding of the beauty industry?
Yeah, I mean, I will share. There are things that cross all industries, so I will definitely share those things. But we have an actual class called the Business of Beauty, and it really doesn't have to be hairstylists. It really could be. It's really geared towards gig workers in the beauty industry. So it could be a masseuse, it could be a nail tech, it could be makeup artists. Because
Lashes, whatever.
we generally have the same rules. But again, a lot of things when it comes to business cross disciplines. So I can certainly answer questions about, just setting up a business and paying taxes and paying yourself. Those things happen across the board.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to like your identity, right? So how has becoming an entrepreneur kind of changed how you see yourself, how you see your own like potential and things that, before you become a business owner, you're an employee, you're just, going with the status quo, but becoming a business owner and seeing yourself in a different way as a leader, as a owner, as an employer, as all those things, like how has that shifted your identity of yourself?
So one, you can never separate it when you own a small business. Like your brand is you 24/7. So that's one thing that I know has changed. So I'm always in business mode, right? And I know that's not a good thing. Like I should turn it off, which I will be when I go on vacation this week. But I'm always, in talking to people. Oh, in my mind, how can I partner with them? How can I bring this to my audience? How can I help them? Help me? So I'm always in that frame of mind. I think that being in business for myself has also taught me that I'm more resilient than I thought I was. It has certainly helped to boost my confidence. So there was a year that I named my year of audacity, where I just kept doing, like, just jumping out the window doing stuff. And so I would do one thing, and then I would do another thing. And then once I accomplished that, I would do another thing. And so it really helped me to see, what you can actually achieve whatever it is you set your mind to. Because you hear people as young people, I think you hear that all the time, like you can do whatever you set your mind to. And it sounds cliche, but really if you just take some time and really think about what drives you and you set goals around that, you can make it happen.
And from watching my mom, I think she built like a brand in the community that kind of speaks for itself. Because I've had several like nepo baby opportunities for work or for I go nepo babies.
What is that?
It's nepotism kids.
Oh, okay.
But like I think ours is kind of like a community based kind of thing where I've received opportunities just off the strength of like people know who my mom is in this community because she's one of the prominent hairstylists in this city. So like yesterday I went to a cookout for one of my high school friends, which I went to high school in a completely different area than I was raised. So when I got there, four of the like aunties serving food was like, "Oh, you're Lenise's son." And I'm like, here we go again. So I can't go anywhere like in Richmond without somebody
knowing your mom.
You saying I'm dead.
Unfortunately, I have to.
I was gonna say, so how do you feel about that?
I feel great because it got me my job. It got me my job now. It wasn't a direct link, but it trickled down to like these people knew my mom, or that's how I was in that same space. And that's kind of why I'm scared to move to another city because my mom is here and the people know her here. But yeah,
I don't have that same clout.
I won't. But it definitely made her a community pillar in my eyes.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. So how does it feel for you to know that that's how he feels? I mean, he may have shared that with you, of course, but also knowing that impact that you've had on the community and how that even impacts some of his decisions on what
it makes me feel good. I don't know that I necessarily set out to do that, but I try to show up as my authentic self as much as possible. And I mean, I do a lot of mentorships. So I think that has connected me to community in a lot of different ways. So I do a lot of mentorships and I started off doing a lot of classes with like girl groups and summer camps and things like that. So that kind of helped to build that connectivity as well.
those are the only people it works for. The people who are like genuinely doing it for whatever they're doing it for, instead of to be recognized. And I end up being recognized because you were doing it for what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's so true. When people set out, like, I just want the attention, I just want the attention, it's never going to come as the type of attention that you want.
No, I definitely don't. I'm not a front. Like, I don't need to be in the spotlight.
Yep. Do it all from behind the scenes. I get it. I love it. All right. Well, what would you say has been the most fulfilling moment of your journey so far? Like, is there something, like, if it's a student or something, even with Tenel, whatever, like, what is that thing that you would say, like, oh, this is like my most fulfilling thing that has happened?
Well, today I would say hearing this, I would say that's today. Before today, I had an assistant, Alexis, who the people love. And so Alexis came to me. I was I'm on the board for the cosmetology program at the ACE Center for Henrico County. So Alexis was a student in that program. And so we work with the students on all kinds of things. Interview skills, vision boards, technical skills. We work with them throughout the year. So Alexis came from that program. And so one year we did mock interviews, and I'm always looking for someone when I do the mock interviews, like who is going to be my next hire. And so Alexis came, and we hired her. And Alexis, this was her senior year of high school. Might have been her junior year. I don't remember. But she started working with me, has been with me through, this is her third location, and she is actually one of our suite owners now. So to see her grow from high school to, she went to JMU and graduated, and she kept coming back, and she has taken a lot of my clients and now she's in one of our suites. So that's been one of my proudest moments.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah. That shows the impact of the work that you do and the mentorship that you've given to. So that's awesome.
Yeah, okay. Enjoy it.
Love it. And so has there been moments, or have there been any moments where you just felt as though, you know what, in the process of getting all this underway, and I know you're so far past this now, but thinking back, like, has there ever been a time where you were like, I don't know, like, maybe I need to give this up. Maybe I need to, like, figure out something else or a different plan. Like, what?
This is a joke, because that's every day. What do you mean? Literally every day, I'm like, I really could walk away from this and just go back to just doing hair in my suite and be fine. But seriously, that's every day. Like, it's so much. But I tell people it's like raising a child, right? They're gonna stress you out. They're gonna find that one nerve and just go to work on that nerve. But to see them grow into their themselves is very rewarding. So that's kind of how I look at my businesses. And I'm blessed to be able to say that I do something that I truly am passionate about. So
right. There's so few people, number one, who even determine what their like passion is.
Right.
Like, it's so few people who even take the time to just analyze and say, what am I called to do? Who am I called to serve? Because that's the way I look at it. It's like, who am I called to serve? And I think a lot of people don't take the time. They just do the regular routine. They're like, I go to work, I come home, I watch TV, I go to bed, maybe I hit the gym. Oh, now I went to the grocery store, but it's just the same pattern, the same routine. And they never really just reflect and determine that. And then I assume at some point they'll be 80 in a rocking chair, you know, sitting on a porch somewhere, just saying, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Why didn't I do it? Right. Yeah. And so it's always amazing when people do take that step and decide, you know what, I have to bet on me, because that's really what it kind of boils down to.
And I think too, so there was something that I always felt like what I should be doing, which is particularly the mentorship piece. But Star and I, when we opened Bloom, we did a program, like a coaching program, and it was a 12-week program. The first thing we had to do was really ground ourselves as owners. Who are you as an owner? What is it that drives you? And so we had to do like a 7 layers deep. She was like, why do you want to be a business owner? And then you answer that, and she's like, well, why is that important? And then you answer that, and she's like, well, you go down 7 layers. And so we realized that which again, it kind of showed up in how we did business anyway, but this really drove it home and grounded it for us. And she was very much about the aesthetics and making sure that the clients felt comfortable in the space when they entered, and that, there was a certain feeling when the clients walk in.
Okay.
Mine was very much about helping people to grow into their best version, the best version of themselves.
Okay.
And so that just goes back to the mentorship piece, which I was already doing. So it just made it clear for me that this is what I should be doing. So
Okay.
yeah. So I focus on staff. She focuses on clients.
Makes sense. Definitely. All right. And so do you feel that your faith, your intuition, your mindset, any of those things kind of helped you in regards to your business as an entrepreneur? Like, were there times where you were at a crossroads and you were like, I just got to go with my gut, or I got to pray on it, or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, 100%. I was, so we opened Bloom in July. So Bloom is, for those of you who don't know, Bloom is a salon and suite. So we have a salon floor with 6 stations, and then we have 6 salon suites around the floor. And so my business, which is Parlour, is inside of Bloom. But opening Bloom was a huge, we had one salon, there was 4 of us, it was great, but we couldn't grow. And so the big thing is we did this huge build out, like very expensive build out. And we opened in July. March 1st, all the bills were going to kick in, the loan payments, everything. And so we weren't filling the suites. We weren't filling, bringing people in to work on the floor. And I was super stressed. Like one of my clients said, your energy was so low. And I was trying to like finesse this and do this and make this happen and coordinate this so that this could happen. And I was overwhelmed. He and I were kind of going through a weird phase. And so I was just like low. And I finally, one day I was like, you know what, God, you got it. I'm gonna just sit back. You got it. And I remember, I don't remember what my devotional was, but that a little bit before that, I had started doing daily devotionals, and it was something else that I changed. I don't remember what it was, but the devotionals just took my mind off of, what do I need to do today? I got to do something today to bring people in. I got to set something up. And it took my mind off of that. And then magically
everything
started coming in. And so we have 9, there's a total of 9 of us now.
Okay. So you kind of had to take the attention off of you and put it onto focusing, like you said, focusing on the devotional, just saying, it is happening.
Let God do what God does.
Let God do what God does, and not try to control it. Because I think that's what a lot of entrepreneurs do too, is they try to control every aspect of their business. But you have to realize that a lot of times, like, you do the work, but the when that work comes to pass, it's kind of out of your control. Like, you're doing the ads, you're making posts, you're doing content, you're doing whatever, but who sees it? How they find out about you, how that all, unfolds, it's kind of out of your control. So you do have to figure out a way to let that go.
You just do what you can do. You do what you know works, and you gotta let God do the rest. And so that's what I did. I just fell back, and it was a weight off. I had a terrible like crying spell one night right before I had to get on a call.
Oh, wow.
After that, I was like, all right, no more. I'm done. I'm gonna just let God deal with it. And that's what I did. And so ever since then, the business has been growing. Our team is happy. We're about to celebrate 1 year on the 15th. So
awesome.
Very excited.
Yeah. And do you find that because of the culture you've created, like there's less turnover, you're not really having to fill the booths as frequently? Like, is there things like that? Because I'm sure with your mentorship and different things that you offer, it may be things that they're not getting anywhere else.
They are not. I think we did go through some turnover, and we probably still will, but I think that because of us going through that mentorship program, we are much better at identifying people who align with our brand. And so what we've had to learn is, Star says it all the time, because we heard it from one of my girlfriends, is slow to hire, quick to fire. So, but honestly, a lot of times people work themselves out. So you don't have to really do that. But our team has been pretty consistent the last, I'll say, when did we start getting people in? Like February, I think. Like maybe around February, March, people started coming, trickling in, and it's been a pretty consistent team since then.
Love it. All right. So I do want to ask some questions just so that future entrepreneurs can kind of hear your perspective on
Mhm.
this. And so when it comes to like the pressure of building something from scratch, right? Because you were, being mentored and having a good, it sounds like community and a village around you as you were getting things going, but that there were some probably instances in which you didn't maybe know all the answers.
Mhm.
What would you say to a new entrepreneur who's thinking about it, but feels like I just don't know enough? I'm not ready enough. Like, do I have the money set aside? Yes. Could I start it now? Yes, but I'm still fearful, delaying. And it's because I feel as though I don't know everything. Those people who just have that perfectionist mentality.
So you will never know everything. I mean, I still hit up people with questions today, constantly, but you won't know everything. Find a mentor. But I would also say to start, because a lot of times if you just start the thing, you will figure it out along the way. But mentorship, what a good mentor will do is help you to avoid some of those pitfalls. I mean, you're going to hit some anyway, because that's just the nature of taking a risk, right? It just will happen.
Yeah.
But mentorship, a really good mentor will help steer you away from some of the things that you can easily avoid. So that would be my advice.
Excellent. Love it. And then in regards to another thing, like, so when there were those dips and, situations where you were like, oh, maybe I'm going to give it up. Maybe this is going to happen. Maybe that's going to happen. Like,
Yesterday,
how do you, yeah, every day, but how do you stay motivated? And what would you like give as advice for somebody who is, just like, how will I work through that as I'm going through that? So like, what advice would you give them when those unexpected things pop up, or, you're just like having a bad day?
I would say I would back it up from that point. Know your why, because your why you have to be passionate about what you do. And I think sometimes people do things for money, and you just can't. Like you have to have a passion, because I'm gonna be completely honest, the people in this industry will run you out of the industry if you don't have a passion for it. The
Oh,
first time somebody is like, I don't like my hair, or they say the wrong thing to you, you're gonna be like, I don't have to do this. And you leave. But because I'm passionate about what I do, um, even on the ownership side, like I'm passionate about seeing. I was passionate about seeing Alexis become her own independent stylist. So
right.
even when Alexis was not doing the things that she was supposed to, I just pull her to the side, like, girl, I didn't raise you like this. What's going on? We will have mama talks, and so, but I'm passionate, so I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna just keep trying to be an example for her, trying to be an example for him, and encouraging them. And I would say just know your why. You have to establish your why, because your why is also going to help keep you from making a decision that does not drive you back to your why, or does not feed your why, or help you
Mm-hmm.
achieve the why. So know the
Mm-hmm.
why before you start to do anything.
Yep. No, that's great. I love it.
Yeah.
And so, Tanel, I wanted to ask you. So, hearing your mom today, of course, being around your mom all the time and knowing all the struggle and sacrifice and everything that she's gone through, what would you say is what are you proudest of your mom?
My mom just always surprises me. Like there's always a new shop. Like I love being able to say this is like the 17th shop that my mom has opened, and each one is better than the last. So I don't know. That, like I said earlier, is what kind of got ingrained into me, is that lack of stagnation, just being uncomfortable with being comfortable. So yeah, that's what I see and I take. Also, the mentor piece, my mom kind of told me a while ago in my industry what I wanted to do. And I think for the younger group, that sounds intimidating to just have a conversation like that. But you can
Mhm.
identify your mentor internally and just learn from them and study what they're doing without having to have that conversation. And so
That
those are,
is
yeah, those are,
Yep, that is such a good point, because there's some people who are like, I don't have access to somebody who's my mentor. I don't know how to reach them. And maybe it's a local person, but maybe it's somebody who's, you see online, like, I don't know, Tony Robbins, Gary Vee, whoever it is, like somebody who's just like, oh, they're like going after it and they're saying all these amazing things. But I think sometimes it's just about like watch the person, see them from afar and focusing on the actions that they take, not necessarily like the lifestyle that they have and the things that they have, but like what is their day-to-day actions, because that's where the rubber meets the road. It's not about as much,
And they don't talk. They don't talk. So you almost have to do that if you're in his age group.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Go and talk to someone. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's a very good point, because they are very technical in regards to everything's going to be with my computer or with my phone. And are you calling me? Like, you want me to actually talk to you? Like, what is wrong with you?
Yep, that's it.
Like, why can't you just text me? Like, hang up and text me and we'll talk that way. So yeah, it's a whole different world. And, I feel for these employers, honestly. Like, I don't know if they realize like in the next 10 years, how much their landscape is going to shift of people who are not going to want to sit in cubicles, who are going to want the freedom to roam around and be able to work from a beach. And like, I'll work hard, but can I just be in my home at a beach? I'm in Paris at a cafe sitting under the Eiffel Tower, but I'm doing my work in America. Like, I'm doing everything that I need to do, because that's the level of freedom that not only the youth wants, but I mean, people at my age, that's what I want, like, it's like, okay, I've worked way too many hours and too many years, and I want a soft life, and I don't want to continue that hustle and grind. Like, just let me live my life in a way that I want to live it. And so I find that it's interesting that, I was looking at something where it was like, oh, like grandparents are on TikTok and the youth is on TikTok. And it's like one of those things too, that it's like, well, a lot of older people are ready to like walk away from corporate America, but then you have some younger people who don't even want to get started,
But I can tell you, this is not a soft life. Okay. If you want a soft life, go work a 9 to 5. This is a 24/7 hustle. This is not a soft life.
Right. Yeah. Entrepreneurship. I agree. Yeah.
You can balance, you can find ways to have balance, but this is not like, I can do what I want to do. That is not what this is. And if you are walking into this thinking that that is what it is, please
go not that. It is not that. Yeah, exactly. And so, no, I appreciate you clarifying that, because I think that some people will have shock. For sure. Yeah. Because it's an investment of your time. It's an investment of your energy. It's an investment of your money. It's an investment of your mindset, in all of those things. And mindset plays a huge part in it as well, because sometimes like you said, you get a couple of bumps in the road. You get a couple of clients who aren't happy, or, oh, this didn't go the way I thought, or, oh, the clients didn't follow me like I thought. I was expecting at least half of the clients and I only got 2. So your mindset can start playing tricks on you if you allow it to.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, my mom was like, she was like my son, like, oh, what are you doing? But she had to bail me out before I lost my house. But now she's like one of my biggest supporters. So
that's awesome.
She had to see it happen.
Yeah, definitely. All right. And so now, if you had to give any advice to someone who's listening to this and they say, you know what? I've been feeling this like whisper, this call to like go out and do something. And I know that I'm supposed to do it, but I just feel stuck. I just feel like I'm not able to make it work. What advice would you give that person? Like, where should they start? What should they start focusing on? What would you say?
I would say to start identify your why. And figure out what goals you want to achieve with it. Like, why do you want to do this? And what do you want to accomplish with this? Like, what feeling do you want to have on the other side of it? But I would also say that, like, don't think yourself out of it. I did that for a long time. That's why I didn't go full time until 35. And being that, like, last week, I lost 2 family members on the same day. So life is tomorrow is not promised. It's just not promised. And again, we hear these things and it sounds cliche, but it really is facts. It's not promised. So if it's something you want to do, if it's something on your heart, go after it. You only have one life.
Right.
If it doesn't work out, guess what? You can go back to wherever you were before that. Unless you acted a fool where you were before.
Normally they'll take you back, but or you just find a new thing. You find a new place to land, So, and for anyone who doesn't know, like Lenise and I, we both worked together previously at a company that a lot of young people may not even know called Circuit City. way back in the day. And so, but the thing is that like I remembered when I heard that they were going to be shutting their doors and the whole recruitment team was going to leave. And I was like, oh my gosh, everybody is going to be so oversaturated with all of these HR people who are all looking for jobs and I mean, Richmond's not that huge, you know? So I was like, oh, in this small area, like all these people are going to be looking for jobs in the same place. But what I found is that good people land. You know what I mean? Like if you're a good person and you do good work, like you're going to land somewhere and you're going to be able to be okay. And that's one of the things that I found is I was like, oh, I'm starting to see people update their LinkedIn profile and they're like, oh, I'm here now. Oh, I'm over here. I'm here. And so as long as you haven't created, like you said, acted a fool or created some kind of reputation where it's like your reputation precedes you and people are like, oh, nah, I heard about them, you know, kind of scenario. So you're right. It's like take the chance, but also it's like if you're a good worker who does good things, then you'll land. You can either go back, or if it's a situation where there's nowhere to go back to, like it was with Circuit, then it's like, okay, but where else can you go and be able to thrive and do a very successful job there as well? Or for some people, I knew of a person who used that opportunity as their catalyst to step into entrepreneurship because they were like, I'm on a severance. Let me use that. And then I'll take that to go ahead and follow my dream and do something that's been called on my heart to do. So I think there's different options where sometimes what looks like it's a delay, but it's not, you know, it's actually a stepping stone.
And
your next
like you need it's like a not necessarily a delay, but when I almost went into foreclosure, I couldn't see how I needed that, but I did because that's what lit that fire and it got me to being creative and thinking of ways to put my brand in front of people. But it was a huge, like, I thought it was like, oh, I failed, but I wasn't going back to corporate. Like I wasn't going to do that. I'm gonna figure it out.
You gonna figure it out. Yeah. That is so funny that once you make that decision, that's exactly the mindset you have. It's like, well, I'm not going back to that. But I'll figure something else out, but it won't be that. Or if it is that, that will be the last resort. You know, it's like that will be the last
resort.
The very last resort. So there you go. And plus it just puts a whole different perspective of the freedom, right? Because there is a level of free, even though it's work and it's challenging and it's all these things that are going on. But at the same time, like even in the limited, I mean, I've only been away for like 2 months, but the limited amount of time, it's like, oh, my mom needed me to take her to a doctor's appointment. And it was like the last time I took her, I was rushing her there because I had to hop on a conference call and I was working on my laptop in the car while she was in her appointments, answering questions, doing all of this, figuring everything out. And this time I was like, wait, like I'm just free to take her to her appointment and I can go in with her or I could stay in the car. I have choices. I have options, you know, and it's just that difference. And it's like, I can work from my car, but it's for me. It's not necessarily for something that I didn't even want to be in that meeting in the first place. You know? So there's those kind of things that happen. So so that's true.
Absolute freedom. I stopped working weekends and I have never, I'm so happy I did.
Yeah, because a lot of times you would think, oh, like somebody in the beauty industry has to work weekends.
No, I don't. I don't plan to do it. The only time I will do it is if I've had to take a lot of time off and I need to kind of make sure my clients can get in. Because sometimes, I don't like people to go past their color service. I don't want people to get too far past their trim schedule. So I might do a Saturday, but usually it means I'm just going to work tomorrow on Friday.
Right. Okay. Definitely makes sense. All right. So we'll be wrapping up. So Tenel, I wanted to just find out from you, is there, anything that you would like to share from a perspective of a child whose parent is going into entrepreneurship, making that decision, kind of what would you like to share from a kid's perspective of watching your parent go through this transformation?
Well, I think it's just to trust the process, and Mama usually does know best. That's
usually. I see that usually was in there.
Yeah, usually does know best. But yeah, trusting the process and just not thinking about yourself. And I know that's like a struggle that a lot of people have, like putting themselves first, but that's not a struggle I've ever had. So like, that's kind of what came in. That's where it has looked like I may have not been like the most supportive because my lifestyle was changing based on the household income switch, like that phase in between the foreclosures and the things like that. But beyond that, I think you just trust the process and wait it out. Then you'll have more of an inspiration to move in your industry, in your field that you want to do, even if it has nothing to do with your parents' industry.
Got it. All right. Excellent. Thank you so much. And then Lenise, question for you. Are there any products, services, opportunities that you're working on right now that you would want to promote or share with the audience or anything like that?
We have space available at Bloom.
There you go.
We have 2 suites remaining. We also have 2 salon chairs remaining. We generally do commission on the floor, but we are open to booth rental. And then the 2 suites are pretty reasonably sized, two decent sized suites, but we do have those available. DM us at Bloom Salon Suites RVA, or send us an email, bloomsalonsuitesrva@gmail.com. If you're interested, we have a wonderful time. We have a great team, and the team, a great location. We're in Rockets Landing, so we are the exclusive beauty providers in that area.
Oh, awesome.
And we love it. So yeah, that's really it. That's all. I'm in vacation mode now. We leave for Hawaii this week, so
I love it.
We have checked out.
Well, I appreciate you taking time to do the interview today. Thank you so much to both of you. This has been great. I mean, for me, hopefully everybody who has listened has also taken away some nuggets and some gems, like I said, from an entrepreneur's perspective, but also from the child of an entrepreneur. Because how often do you get to hear that kind of perspective of things, of like, what did I see and how do I feel and how did I feel versus how I feel now, and all of those things. So I really appreciate you both. Have a wonderful and safe vacation.
Thank
you are going to Hawaii. How nice and wonderful. And so you'll come back refreshed and recharged and ready to tackle it all again.
Ready to get back to work, I think.
Yes, exactly. So, all right. Well, thank you both so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I am the also kind of founder of the Victorious Movement, which is my online community that I have. It is a wonderful community where I coach people to their success. So we work on things like mindset, discovering your purpose, what are your goals and how do you set them? We focus on abundance, monetizing, law of attraction, a lot of different things to help get you to your next level. So if you're interested, you can use that QR code on the screen and find out more about the Victorious Movement. So on that note, everybody have an amazing rest of your Sunday, and we will be back in 2 weeks and having another amazing entrepreneur sharing their journey to entrepreneurship. And on that note, having a great one. Talk to you all soon. Bye.